In 2025 and 2026, a young adult under 35 typically needs to earn more than $110,000 annually to afford the median home in the United States. This figure exceeds the actual median household income by roughly $25,000 or more, depending on the exact data point. It's a stark, undeniable reality shaped by current prices, mortgage rates, and other costs. The situation lands heavily. Even with full-time work, perhaps supplemented by a second job, many people find themselves unable to build equity in the one major asset that once represented true long-term stability. Instead, their earnings largely disappear into rent payments without creating lasting ownership. This raises pointed questions. Who truly gains when the housing system remains locked in its current form? And who bears the heaviest immediate costs? Picture it this way. Imagine a castle where those already inside continually raise the walls higher, yet they only extend ladders to their close allies. Everyone else remains stuck outside, mired in the mud, unable to enter. Consider someone like Alex, a 29-year-old earning $78,000 a year in a mid-sized city. His rent consumes about $2,200 each month, and student loans claim another $600. After covering utilities, groceries, and other essentials, he might save just $400 to $500 monthly. Yet the median down payment required for even a modest starter home in his area hovers between $55,000 and $60,000. At his current pace, reaching that goal would take 10 to 12 years, assuming home prices hold steady, which they rarely do. The numbers reveal a clear pattern. Alex exchanges his time and labor for rent receipts rather than building ownership equity. This outcome stems not from personal misfortune, but from structural visibility. On the surface, the explanation seems straightforward, but the deeper dynamics reveal something more troubling.
Builders and developers encounter rigid zoning regulations and lengthy permitting processes that severely restrict new construction. As a result, housing supply remains constrained, keeping prices elevated and effectively pushing younger buyers out of the market. The key gatekeepers here are often established homeowners, frequently older individuals with significant assets already in place, along with the local governments influenced by their voices. The existing framework incentivizes them to resist additional supply, as blocking new development protects and even increases the value of their own properties. This creates a form of artificial scarcity. Zoning limits density, fewer homes get built, and existing ones appreciate further. Banks then extend larger loans against these inflated assets, reinforcing the cycle. Economically, this resembles a private club that halts new memberships once capacity is reached. Current member stakes grow more valuable over time. The technical term is supply restriction leading to economic rents. The tangible outcome is that older owners watch their net worth swell on paper, while younger people struggle even to approach the entrance. Here's a revealing twist. During economic downturns, asset holders with collateral receive stabilization first through various mechanisms. Renters and aspiring buyers, meanwhile, shoulder the brunt of volatility. This pattern extends far beyond housing alone. It concerns control over access to productive assets more broadly. Real power circulates through formal ownership titles and access to credit, resources that have never been distributed equally. Those who already possess assets leverage them to secure additional loans and investments, expanding their position. That expansion generates greater influence. Influence, in turn, shapes policies around zoning, tax incentives, and credit availability. These policies then reinforce the position of incumbents, forming a self-perpetuating loop. In periods of growth, asset owners capture early benefits through appreciation and favorable borrowing conditions. When conditions weaken, they receive buffers via bailouts or accommodative rates on their holdings. Younger generations, by contrast, endure the fallout through elevated rents, postponed life milestones, and wages that lag behind asset growth. Over decades, this process does more than widen inequality. It solidifies into a rigid hierarchy. For someone like Alex, the practical consequence is renting well into his 40s while accumulating no equity. For society, it translates to fewer new owners and, consequently, fewer voices advocating for meaningful rule changes. To play devil's advocate, Older homeowners aren't cartoonish antagonists scheming harm. The system actively rewards safeguarding one's existing stake, home value, neighborhood character, retirement security. It naturally motivates resistance to new development when that primary asset feels threatened. Yet when protections consistently favor the same group first and foremost, one must ask, is this an unintended flaw in the system, or is it functioning precisely as designed? Certain influential works illuminate this dynamic clearly. One demonstrates how formal property titles convert otherwise dead capital into productive resources for expansion. Another exposes how centralized control over credit provides stability to the powerful while displacing volatility onto others. The core architecture remains consistent. The entry point stays deliberately narrow. Those inside gain leverage to expand further. Those outside wait indefinitely and continue paying the price. Today's specific prices and interest rates may eventually shift or moderate. The deeper incentive structure, however, tends to endure. Right now, society stands at a clear fork in the road. Most continue jogging on the rent treadmill, passively hoping for prices to fall dramatically. A smaller, more disciplined group recognizes the loop for what it is and begins constructing alternative paths to leverage. Additional income streams, stacked skills, strategic networks, anything that pries the asset gate open even slightly. The majority waits for external permission to advance. The astute build their own entrance. The choice of which path to follow remains yours.